Hey guys, Key West, lovely. And here we go with YouTube as well. Hello, YouTubers and LinkedIn and Facebook. How are you guys? Hey, everybody on both of these, Scotland, London. I like how everybody already knows kind of to check in. This is good. You're already saying where you're from. Excellent, people. I'm opening up my Facebook too, just so I have that open. In case anybody doesn't know, we take the first 5 minutes and just have folks introduce themselves, just say where you're from. And that way it gives a little chance for people to filter in because, message goes out, takes a little bit. YouTube, for example, doesn't notify people and they're supposed to. So this way it lets people have a chance to join us. So we take a little second and have people just say hi and where they're from, which I think is kind of fun. So I'm starting up my YouTube right now. Where is this? My profile. There we go. Ooh, anyway, I took the dogs out. It's 92, but was surprisingly not as bad as you'd think it would be. So that was kind of fun. So got them. Andy from Orlando, good to see you on Facebook. Oh, so what's going on, guys? Anything? I don't know. I've just been tired and checking my crypto. Let's not talk about cryptocurrency today. We definitely don't want to talk about that. Hello, Poland. Good to see you. Dallas in the house. UK. Oh, so many people. Berkshires. I've never even been. I just know that's a fancy place, Andrew. Fancy. Andrew's fancy in the Berkshires. Oh, just checking who else is checking in here. Nevada. Good. I'm glad you've been waiting for the show. At least we started on time. Hey, everybody. We go for a few more minutes here. Just so folks know, we usually go till around 5 after or so before we begin officially. It gives folks a chance to arrive. And I've got my big mug of water ready to go. Tanks could be Uh-oh, did I miss something about tanks becoming submarines? Oh, heck yes. Oh, yes. I'm talking about that today. Oh, good joke, Mike L. Very nice. Yes. Who knew tanks could be submarines? The Ukrainians knew tanks could be submarines. We're going to talk about that today. Big Ukrainian, just another, actually very big Ukrainian victory, really. Barbados, that's kind of cool. Don't know that we've gotten the Caribbean too much before. What else we got here? New York. Still waiting for all my beloved foreigners on YouTube. YouTube definitely doesn't seem to, I don't know, for the YouTubers, did it actually let you know? Because I know we've been having some issues with YouTube, not quite telling folks, which has been annoying. And I can't imagine YouTube would have any problem, any kind of Slava Ukraini read, or I call you Reed, Flint. But yeah, I can't imagine YouTube would be having issues with promoting Ukrainian content. That doesn't quite seem up Google's alley of being a problem, if you know what I mean. Oh, bonsoir, qui c'était? Oh, Adriane, les nouvelles sont bonnes aujourd'hui. Ils sont pas mauvais. Bon, et il y a des... Oh, comment on dit en français? Des... attends. I'm trying to think of the word in French. Oh. No, that's testimony. Témoignage is testimony. Oh. It's not harcèle. The word for threat. Oh, this is going to bother me now. It's not harcèle. That's like harassment. I know. Harcèlement. Thank you for the hat. Oh, a threat. Oh, it's going to bug me when you tell me what it is. What's a threat, Audrey-Anne? It's going to bug me. Salutation. Giges or gig. Geek. Oh, that's a tough one. Threat is menace. Menace, oui. I knew that. Oh, someday we'll have to do this in French. Un jour, il faut le faire tout en français. Et bon, j'espère. Bon, je peux. Ça sera plus difficile qu'en anglais, mais quand même. Ukraine, Russie. See, I'd have to practice the words before. Menace. I'd have to practice. I like the word menace. Menace. I like the way it's said with us. Menace. But I'd have to practice the words and everything. Hey, Mina. Or Mina. I'm calling you Mina. Munmia. Mina. That kind of works, though. I like Mina. We have an Aunt Mina in Greece. It's a nice name. Mina. Thank you for that on TikTok. Okay, guys. I think I'm ready to roll. No, you are freaking awesome. Just call mean. Or, oh, just call me Ann. Just call mean. You probably said just call me Ann or something. Just call mean. I'm reading things poorly today. Oh my God. Anyway, everybody. Hello. I'm John Arvosis. I am in Chicago today. DC as of Sunday. Thank you for the origami and the Borg. You know, I love the Borg on TikTok. I'm going to be amenaza. Oh, same in Spanish. Yep. Amenaza. Right. So, that's a new one. Cami, I don't think I've seen that one. That was new. Thank you. So, yeah. So the news today, as always, I'm going to start with about 20 minutes of news. I will tell you guys why it matters. I'll actually hello, Lisa Skinner from Facebook. I'm even going to summarize the news first because someone wanted that yesterday. I thought that was kind of a neat idea. Summarize the top stories, then walk you through them. And then at the end, I'll just summarize the headlines one more time since, the way this works, people filter in and out, which isn't a bad idea. Hang on here. Yep, we'll figure exactly. Just didn't get it disabled. Okay, sorry. So what does I say? Oh, yeah, so let me start. So comments, as always, anybody who's new, we'll then do a Q&A afterwards, question and answer. We go until a quarter after the next hour. So usually it's a good 45 minutes of questions. I ask you on TikTok to submit your questions via the question and answer box at the bottom of your screen. It says Q&A. And that's easiest because when you enter them there, they're all in a row for me, which is really nice. So it's that way I can check them out later, which is fabulous. So thank you for that. On YouTube and YouTube, Facebook, etc., LinkedIn, you know the drill here. Just you can enter your questions in the question box at the bottom. As I always say, for the super chat questions, which are the ones you pay for, I always promise I'll get to those next. So I give a priority to those because thanks to the TikTokers, there are always like 150 questions in all that you guys ask. TikTok throws at least 100 at me usually, and then you guys throw in more here. So I can't get to all of them. So in order to get to, basically, because I can't get to all of them, if you buy a super chat question, I always promise I'll get to that first, because by doing that, you are giving a donation to my work and you're helping me do this full time, which is what I'm doing currently. Thank you for that. And on TikTok, when you do those cute little things on my head, like you just did with the wreath of flowers, that is also supporting my work. And frankly, it's also just kind of a nice thing. So thank you for that. And I will always try to do a shout out when I see those things happening too. So for the rest of you, whenever you see me making crazy comments about cute corgis and Borg, it's because people are doing a cute heart on TikTok and somebody's doing the corgi as I'm talking to you. All right, guys, let's jump right in. So Finland joining NATO, and Sweden, big story. This story got covered a little bit goofily. Thank you for the hat on TikTok, Andrew. Got storied a little bit crazily this morning. It wasn't done very well. A lot of people were reporting it as Finland is joining NATO. Finland has joined NATO. Finland has applied to NATO, right? Not quite what happened. What happened was Finland's president and prime minister both came out today and jointly said that they believe it is clear Finland needs to join NATO. Now, what has to happen for Finland to join NATO is the parliament has to meet and the parliament has to vote on it. That happens this coming Monday. Having said that, on whatever channel I was watching, maybe it was CNN, I couldn't even tell you right now, the news was saying that somebody from the Swedish parliament said they've got 200 parliamentarians and 180 of the parliamentarians are expected to vote in favor of joining NATO. So it is an overwhelming vote. And then shortly thereafter, they will apply. Sweden, it is thought, is simply waiting for Finland. Oh, and the other thing which was interesting is they're saying that they believe, I did this. I'm swearing again. I got to watch that. My foul mouth kicked in again. Sorry. I was going to do my summary of the headlines. I'll do that after this story then. Thank you for the hat. That threw me. I said the S word and it totally freaking threw me. Oh my. Thank you for Poppy for those. The Sweden, Finland. It really did throw me. Oh yeah. So Finland was slowing down the process. Finland would have already done it all by now, but supposedly they were slowing it down so that they could announce it at the same time as Sweden, because both countries thought that would be better. And kind of it's backing each other up, right? So that's very cool. Stella, you rock for donating that. Thank you very much. And Kevin for the corgi. Let me read the headlines first, and then we'll continue talking about Finland and Sweden and the rest of the news. So big news is Finland, Sweden joining NATO. Russia's threatening to cut off gas to Finland because Russia's petty. Medvedev, who used to be the liberal in Russia, is threatening nuclear war over the fact that we're aiding Ukraine. The Russian State Duma speaker always seems to be threatening like genocide or something. But so what else is new? Another Russian ship was hit near Snake Island, which is Go F Yourself Island. The pontoon bridges, a couple pontoon bridges were blown up in eastern Ukraine by the Ukrainians. Lots of Russians sank on that one. And one second, Medved, hang on. And what else did I have? That CNN, oh yeah, nasty CNN video of a war crime. Medved was threatening nuclear war, I said. UN is going to investigate human rights violations. German leaders expected to visit Kyiv. That's nice. The chancellor and the president. And Poland has a new Zelensky stamp, which is kind of cool. So how's that for hot? Okay, that is the news story. So let's go back here. So somebody was even throwing in a little Swedish news here. Nicolina, thank you for that. The Swedish newspaper said a source said will apply on Monday, but they're still talking about it. That would make sense because the current thought is that Finland will have the parliamentary vote on Monday. I would not be surprised if Sweden has a parliamentary vote on Monday as well, because since they're trying to do these things in tandem, and then both countries will probably apply that day. The UK is already a member of NATO, just because somebody asked there. So let me see here. Oh, yes. So the Russians are very upset. The Russians are very upset. Well, as the Finnish leader, I'm going to go for prime minister, but not sure, said this morning or yesterday, was asked at a press conference about how the Russians are going to react. And he said, what would you say to Mr. Putin? He said, what would you tell Mr. Putin about this, about joining NATO? And he said, I would tell Mr. Putin, you did this. Maybe you should look in the mirror. That basically Finland and Sweden both, the polling was not great a couple of years ago. Both of them, I want to say, were in the 30 percentile or so. Finland is up to, thank you, Vicky, is up in like the 70 percentile support for joining NATO. Sweden might be more like 56% or something like that, but it's still very good. But it's definitely, more than a majority. But Finland was overwhelming. Both of them pushed there because of Putin. So God bless Putin. The Russians are now threatening. First we have, was this a nuclear war threat? Oh, this was just a war threat. So listen to this. Dmitry, but this one I pulled out because it shows how bad the Russians are at this. Thank you, Karen, for that. In the old days, the Soviets were excellent liars. I mean, really, really, really good liars. And it was kind of annoying because they were really good at it. And they could sow lots of mayhem around the world. The Russians can't lie themselves out of a paper bag. They're so bad at this. So this guy, Dmitry Polyansky, a deputy representative of Russia at the United Nations, said, and it was a story, it was a summary on the Kyiv Independent of another story, said that Sweden and Finland joining NATO would turn them into enemy countries. Okay. They know that the moment they become members of NATO, it will imply certain minor moves on the Russian side, he said. If there are NATO detachments, meaning NATO troops in those countries, which there will be, these territories will become a target or a possible target for a Russian strike. Now, here's the problem. If you were Russia and, your military sucked so badly that you couldn't even beat Ukraine, would you want to attack Poland and not Poland? Which one is sorry, Poland. Thank you. I was looking at the corgi and it got me thrown. Would you want to attack Finland and Sweden before they join NATO when, it's only them? Or would you want to wait until after they join NATO when it's them and several dozen other countries who have nuclear weapons, mind you? Which one would you do? Well, if it's the Russians, apparently their threat from this guy is, if you join NATO, then we're telling you we might attack. Dude, they drive me crazy. They're not attacking. Thank you, Beverly. They're not attacking. They wouldn't attack now. They wouldn't have the nerve to even attack Poland and Sweden. Poland, I got you on my, I've got Poland on my mind because Poland did a wonderful stamp of Zelensky today that they just put out. And I've got a picture on my iPad that I'm going to show you all, but I've got Poland on the brain because Poland's been so good lately. But yeah, they're lying. They're just lying. They wouldn't wait until, thank you for the origami. They wouldn't wait until after. It's stupid stuff. Anyway, Russia's threatening to cut off gas to Finland on May 13th if they join NATO. Not clear what that means. Well, actually, May 13th is tomorrow. So it's even before they join NATO. Thank you, Katya, for that. I'm just not sure what it means. And Moises, it depends on what I didn't have time to, I saw this story literally right before I got on. I didn't have time to see what's the, how much gas do they import? What does it actually mean? Is it all the gas? Is it certain companies? So I'll look into that, but Finland's not going to change its mind. Medvedev, yes, Medvedev. What did he do? Oh, yes, Medvedev. This is great, too. So Medvedev, who was the former Russian prime minister like 20 years ago or whatever, and he was considered the liberal, moderate, great hope of Russia, who's turned into a Putin clone now. He says, and he's pissed off about just the weapons, but clearly he made this threat today, so I think he's also pissed off about Finland and Sweden joining NATO. And he said, the pumping of Ukraine by... kind of an odd phrasing there, Medvedev. The pumping of Ukraine by NATO countries with weapons. Okay, if you're my generation or older and you're American, you might be familiar with this expression. Thank you, Marcy. Throw me down the stairs, my shoes. And it's an expression we use in English to say when someone puts the word order totally screwed up in a sentence, because I think like in German, can you do that or something? But in English, you really can't. You can't put it wrong. So you'd say, throw me down the stairs, my shoes, which means throw my shoes down the stairs. But throw me down the stairs, my shoes sounds like throw me down the stairs, throw me down the stairs. So pumping of Ukraine by NATO countries sounds a little too R-rated. He's pissed that we're pumping Ukraine with weapons, and he said it brings the risk of conflict turning into a full-fledged nuclear war. We need to have, maybe we use sunflowers, because we do love the Ukrainian sunflowers. Every time the Russians threaten nuclear war, I want lots of sunflowers in the comments on TikTok and on YouTube, please, because it's just gotten comical at this place. And somebody who's new here may say, how could you say it's comical? It's nuclear war. It's comical because this could be like the 23rd time, maybe the 24th time that the Russians have threatened nuclear war. And, they threatened against London. They threatened against Ireland. They threatened against Paris. They threatened against Berlin. These are like different days of the week. Then they threatened Finland. Actually, this might be the second threat against Finland. They threatened Finland like at the beginning. They threatened Poland. I remember that. And they just keep threatening nuclear. Thank you. Now we've got my sunflowers out. Thank you. They just keep threatening nuclear war. And it's just kind of a joke after a while. Nobody believes them. NATO doesn't believe them. Our intelligence no longer believes them. I'm not going to give my spiel again, but bottom line is, because we have nuclear submarines, our submarines will survive a nuclear war. So what happens is Russia could attack and destroy everything if they want. And they could destroy the US, destroy the Great Britain, everyone's dead. Our nuclear submarines would survive because that's how they work. You can't destroy them really. And they would destroy all of Russia. So there will be no nuclear war. I'm sorry. I realize it could be by an accident. Yes, it could be by a maniac. But as I've said before, Putin's crazy, but he's not crazy. The guy's not a maniac. It's not like he wants to destroy Russia, right? He wants to save Russia. So he's not going to blow it up. There's not going to be a nuclear war. But for them to bring this out again when 2 weeks ago it became clear that NATO didn't care anymore about Russia's nuclear threats is weird to me. And again, it gets back to how bad Russia is at lying and messaging overall. I'm telling you, the Soviets were good at this. I was around back in the day. The Soviets were good at this. These guys suck. Another threat. I had to bring these up because this threat now, this one, I don't want to say it's laughable because it's really offensive. And the Ukrainians out there are going to, anybody knowing their history is going to appreciate this, but any Ukrainians out there, you're going to especially appreciate this one, is how offensive it is. So listen to this. This is again about providing aid to Ukraine. So Russia's State Duma speaker, which is, I forget which house of parliament the Duma is, but one of the houses of parliament, Speaker Vyacheslav Volodin, accused Washington of using the aid package. So the aid we're giving Ukraine, right, to survive, we're using the aid package to indebt Ukraine to us. That's the whole point behind it. And we want to appropriate the country's grain reserves in lieu of payment. That supposedly we're doing this so that we can turn around and say, we gave you $30 billion worth of weapons. Give us all of your grain or else, like it's a heist. We're going to put on a Zorro mask or something, or else. And here's the good part. Mind you, let me just preface this by saying Russia is currently stealing Ukraine's grain. Russia has already tried to sell Ukraine's grain to Egypt and failed. They also believe that Ukrainian grain has now made its part to other parts in Europe. Thank you, Bandit, for that. So Russia's already on a roll here of stealing Ukrainian grain. They're trying, and they've blocked grain exports from Odessa, from the Black Sea, which Ukraine uses to feed the world. So Russia is trying to, and they've destroyed all the farm stuff and stolen all the farm equipment. They are trying to starve Ukraine, and they're trying to starve the world. but they're accusing us of it. Now, that's very Soviet. I will say that. The Soviets would do that all the time, accuse us of the crazy stuff they did. So listen to this. Here's the best part. Washington, so he just said, we're trying to steal all their grain. Here's the reason why. Washington wants a Holodomor in Ukraine. The Holodomor is the Ukrainian famine of the 1930s when Stalin starved the Ukrainians. The Soviet leader Stalin starved the Ukrainians and killed millions of them. This is coming from Russia that reveres the Soviet Union, that reveres Stalin, from Russia, whose own troops are waving Soviet flags and putting them up in Ukrainian towns, okay, who are putting up statues of, if I keep going, my voice is going to go too high here, but who are putting up statues of Lenin in these towns, the Soviet leader, and they have the balls to accuse the U.S. of wanting to create the genocide that they created, and that they're threatening, not even threatening, that they're trying to create again. Now, that is good messaging in the sense that, accuse the other guy of what you're doing, and it just shows how, but I had to put it out there because I think especially the Ukrainians, that's what I mean. If you're not Ukrainian, and Anna A is saying it too, it's beyond offensive. It's beyond offensive. It's like, no offense to the Germans, but if the Germans were doing it again, and then they literally accused, like, the Germans are doing it again to the Jews, and the Germans say, you're committing a Holocaust to the Jews or something. Anyway, it's beyond offensive. Another Russian ship, good news, another Russian ship hit near Snake Island. As I said, Snake Island, I guess it's called Zminy, Ukrainian, my God. I can read things in Russian. I cannot read things in Ukrainian. There's a boat coming up that's impossible to pronounce. Zminy, because there's two eyes island. I'm going to stop that, or these videos are going to make like memes someday. I'm worried. Near Snake Island. Snake Island is the island where the Russian warships came, including the Moskva, that's now a submarine, and threatened the 13 or so Ukrainian troops on the island and said, you better get off the island, or we're going to bomb you. And the Ukrainians responded, Russian warship, go F yourself, right? What was it? Ruski? I'm never going to get the name for warship down, because isn't it like kanal, or it's a funny word in Ukrainian. Ruski something, kanal or kalad, something, idi nahui, I think. But I always get the word, write the word warship for me in Ukrainian on one of these things, folks, as I'm talking. Because it's a weird word that makes me think of it's like a false cognate in English. It makes me think of something else, like canal or something. I don't know what. In any case, so it's a 95-meter boat. This is the hard part. It's called the Svevolod Bobrov. That was pretty good. It is 95 meters long, which is 300 feet long, practically. Really big, really big. Korabel, is it Korabel? Was that the word they used? Korabel for warship? Maybe. There was like a K. Okay, somebody else. Sianya is saying the same thing. Korab or Korablo, depending how it's spelled. Okay. Thank you all for that. Anyway, 300-foot long boat. It is a logistics ship, and it apparently it's on fire and heading back to Sevastopol, supposedly. It is Korabl means ship. Okay, interesting. Thank you, Korabl. So it's on fire. It's heading back to Sevastopol. Great news. It is now. There is somebody had asked yesterday for the update. It's apparently still going back in. Is it? Okay. I know. I hope the mods don't get mad. I shouldn't laugh, but I'm laughing anyway. We'll come back to you, Flint. That was pretty funny. Actually, the funny thing is, I don't want to get too off track here, but Syndicate, who's helping me with a lot of the technical side, because we're hoping on doing sort of new and wonderful things with the live chat. But he was helping me. He and I had this very discussion today on what would happen if somebody did all caps in a super chat. And look at you did it without even, unless Syndicate put you up to it. That's the only thing I'm wondering. But thank you for the contribution. Any case, yeah, they've been fighting over the island, the Ukrainians and the Russians, back and forth. Nobody controls it yet. It's very important because it's considered a strategic place in the Black Sea there because of control of the airspace. Once the Moskva was sunk, right, the big frigate, the big important ship that turned into a submarine. Thank you for that, Firefly. That was cute. the Moskva was really important. I'm like, you guys, I've got to stop reading this stuff you guys are putting up. The Moskva was super important because it was used to patrol the skies, and it was protecting all the other ships from incoming attacks, from planes, from drones, etc. Once the Moskva got sunk, it screwed up everything. So now what the Russians are trying to do is take over that island and put all sorts of surface-to-air missiles and other things to protect the airways, to protect their ships. And the Ukrainians are trying to get it first. So there's been a lot of mutual blowing up, but I think more blowing up of Russians. Pontoon bridges blown up in the east. This was really good. This was really good. I even read a thread by one of the Ukrainian soldiers on Twitter last night who was basically bragging, but it was well worth it, describing how he did this. I'm going to tell you what happened, and I'll tell you a little bit of what I remember about how he described this. As somebody wrote on TikTok, one of the military guys, American, he said, American or British, he goes, cocky little MF, but considering what he did, he deserves it. So listen to this. This is, again, I think it's the summaries from Kyiv Independent. The better part of 2 or more Russian army battalions. Oh, no, this was from an article I read. The better part of 2 or more Russian army battalions, potentially 100 vehicles and more than 1,000 troops. Okay. 100 vehicles and 1,000 troops in recent days tried to cross a pontoon bridge spanning the Siversky Donets River, running west to east between the separatist provinces of Donetsk and Luhansk in eastern Ukraine. So a bridge running between the two provinces in eastern Ukraine where all the fighting is going on. Ukrainian artillery caught them at the riverbank and destroyed them. The rapid destruction of around 6 dozen tanks, 6 dozen tanks and armored vehicles, 72 tanks and armored vehicles, along with the bridge itself, underscores Russia's deepening woes as its troops try and fail to make meaningful gains. Now, I did not see how many men were lost. It was a lot. Thank you, that Dwight. Now, what was interesting really quick with this was what the guy said, who apparently was involved in this. He said he's an engineer, and the commander, whoever, said, we've got Russian troops on the other side. There's no bridge right now. We think they're going to put up a pontoon bridge. I want you to scope things out, and it's your job to figure out as an engineer, where would the Russians cross and what do we do? Like, where do we hit them? Whatever. He goes and he gets people covering with the guns. He goes and scouts and does his best guess at a part of the river that makes sense for the crossing of the Russians, right? He goes back, tells the boss, so the boss puts lookouts there, and he tells the lookouts, don't trust your eyes, trust your ears. You need to listen for power boats. And he said engines and boats, like power boats and engines. And when you hear that, that means they're building the bridge. And he said, don't trust anything else. Well, the next day or 2 days, whatever it is, there's fog. They can't see. Oh, and the Russians, to try to hide themselves, had started fires. So they started fires in the forest, so there'd be lots of smoke because they wanted to blind the fact they were doing this. Well, the lookouts, what do? They hear the engines that the guy said to look out for. So they wait. The bridge had 8 pontoons. Pontoons are like floats, basically, but obviously they're super floats because they can hold tanks and things. So they get 7 of the 8 done crossing the river, so they can't get on the other side. And as they're going to save time, the Russians, the smart Russians, they decide to start putting tanks and things and men on the pontoons. Well, they get 7 done before the 8 is finished. They blow it up with artillery, and everything sinks. Everything sinks. I mean, this was glorious. So this is what the guy was bragging about it. He said, I did it. I picked where it was going to be. I predicted it. And I told everybody how to listen to it and find it. And they found it. So as you can see, that story made me very happy. But it's another indication of how well the Ukrainians are doing and why the Russians, I mean, at every step of the way, the Russians just keep having more and more trouble. It's amazing. CNN. I don't know if you guys saw this CNN video of the war crime. I'm going to show you. It's horrific. Syndicate, my friend Syndicate, helped me by blacking out some of it because, a little nervous about TikTok and YouTube both. This is why we also worry about swear words on TikTok and YouTube, because with the algorithm, which is the computer program that both services use, I don't want them to look at my content and go, that's scary content. TikTok especially will just get rid of it if it shows people dying. And YouTube would not be thrilled. So let me show you this video. I know it's not optimal. What's the word in French? I forgot when I asked for a doggy bag to go home. Ce n'est pas idéal. I got my doggy bag though. My French is good. I apologized to the guy first and I said, I know it isn't correct, but could it be possible? Your food was so delicious, but I couldn't finish it. But I'm so full. Could it be possible you could, give me a doggy bag to take it home? And I know it's not correct. And he goes, ce n'est pas idéal. Which is basically, it's not ideal, but it has much more meaning in French than it's not ideal. It's kind of a, we don't do things that way. But he brought it back and he made it in silver with the paper, and he made it into this beautiful swan for me, which was actually funny as hell, because that was about as nice of a gesture as you could get out of a French person, bringing it to you and then making a beautiful swan out of it too. So I know how to schmooze the French. I should be like an ambassador for this stuff. I like the French. I know how to work the French. In any case, I was talking about this because I don't know why. I have no idea why, but let me show you this. So this is it's an important video to look at, as I said. Let me start it. It is from CNN. And, I know what I was going to say, ce n'est pas idéal that I am holding it up like this because I know it's a pain. And, okay, fine. Somebody made fun of me yesterday for not cleaning my screen. There. Now my screen is clean. Watch this. It's pretty awful, as we say. Let me put the speaker over here, and hopefully you guys can hear. Like I said, not optimal, but important to see.
Example of a potential war crime by Russian forces.
I'm going to stop touching
This is a stark example of a potential war crime perpetrated by Russian forces. An example the world has not yet seen. Russian soldiers shooting 2 civilians in the back. But what happened outside this business was not a battle between soldiers or even soldiers and armed civilians. It was a cowardly, cold-blooded killing of unarmed men by Russian forces. The soldiers show up and begin breaking in. Inside of a guard shack, 2 Ukrainian men prepare to meet them. We track down the men's identities. One is the owner of the business, whose family did not want him named. The other was hired to guard it.
My father's name is Leonid Alexeyevich Platz.
His daughter Yulia wanted the world to know his name and what the Russians did to him. Both civilians, both unarmed. We know this because the video shows them greeting and getting frisked by the Russian soldiers, and then casually walking away. Neither seemed to suspect what was about to happen. You see the 2 men walking in the shadows toward the camera. Behind them, the soldiers they were just talking to emerge. A few more steps, and their bodies drop to the ground. Dust shoots up from the bullets hitting the pavement. The soldiers have opened fire. Minutes later, the guard, Leonid, gets up, limping but alive. He manages to get inside the guard booth to make a call to the local guys for help. When his men finally got to Leonid, he had lost massive amounts of blood.
One man from our group went there, and the guy was still alive. He gave him bandages, tried to perform first aid, but the Russians started shooting.
They tried to fight back, but were unsuccessful. They didn't have the firepower to save their countrymen. These Russian soldiers showed just how callous they are, drinking, toasting one another, and looting the place minutes after slaying the 2 men.
I mean, yeah, I've watched this so many times, and that last part pisses me off the most. They had just killed these civilians in cold blood, and they went inside, got some water, and literally did a chin-chin, a little cheers, after they did, as if it was like, good job, and then looted the place because, of course, they're animals. Just absolutely sickens me. The good news is, this is the kind of stuff I was talking about where we need video. We need video of war crimes. I told you this at the beginning. Remember we were saying, like, what kind of things would change people's attitudes? Not that people aren't already on the Ukrainian side, but it's videos of war crimes. And this, you are talking about a straight out video of a war crime. I mean, and they were lucky that I guess it was a velo magazine, which I can only guess is maybe a bicycle shop. I'm trying to work my French Ukrainian there together, but it had a little security camera that worked, which is great. But yeah, awful. Okay, better news. These are all better now. The UN has decided to investigate human rights violations in Ukraine, and I'm a little surprised they were able to pull this off. But the United Nations Human Rights Council voted in favor of tightening control over the deteriorating human rights situation in Ukraine stemming from the Russian aggression. That was the language the UN used, which is really historic. Although 33 countries voted in favor of the resolution, China and Eritrea voted against it. But pretty big deal that you've got anything from the UN investigating these kind of things, because the UN gets so tied up by trying to make every member happy. And especially important that the language talked about the deteriorating human rights situation in Ukraine stemming from the Russian aggression. So it's accusing Russia of aggression and human rights violations, basically. Huge. For the UN, I know this sounds like small stuff. For the UN, this is a big deal. German leaders expected to visit Kyiv. Kyiv is expecting the visits of 2 German leaders, President Frank-Walter Steinmeier and Chancellor Olaf Scholz. So I should have said Frank-Walter Steinmeier. That's the best German I can do. And Chancellor Olaf Scholz. As you may recall, there was this little snafu. I forgot, was it Steinmeier, who was a little close to what's-his-face, who we don't really like anymore, the former chancellor, Schroeder, who's too close to Putin, and there was a little bit of a diplomatic snafu, and now everybody's making nice, and the Germans are coming, which is great. And the final thing is, I will show you, and then we will do Q&A. I grabbed a picture of the Polish stamp. They've got a new commemorative stamp they did of Zelensky, which is really nice. And it's funny because to me, it looks like a Andy Warhol kind of thing of Zelensky. Is that not totally Andy Warhol? Well, actually, it's 2 things. You know what it is? It's Andy Warhol and it's Obama. I think they did a little bit. This is a little bit of the Obama, yes, we can, or whatever it was kind of thing as well, I think. So sorry, guys. I see your questions. I'll get to the super questions chat in a second. But very cool, though. But I think it's hearkening to both Andy Warhol and Obama. Because the Obama thing, it is kind of, he actually does evoke a little Obama, that kind of young, youthful leader, bringing people together. Yes, we can. All right, guys, let me, hang on, grabbing your questions. I'm sorry, one of them did come earlier, and I meant to stop, and I didn't. But I think I've got you. Yep, I've got Stephanie, and I'm going back one more to make sure I didn't miss anybody else. And if I'll tell the mods who I've got, and if I missed anybody, you guys can let me know. Oh, after Flint, that was it. Yeah, so I've got 3. I've got Flint Reed. I've got Kevin Cunningham and Stephanie Vanessa. Okay, so let's start with Flint. So now we'll do the Q&A. It is an Obama vibe, isn't it? Yeah. I'll start with the super chat questions, as I said, and then if there aren't any super chat questions, then we go back and forth, and I pick the regular questions at random and your guys' regular questions at random at TikTok, as I always forgot to say too. Your TikTok's up there, YouTube, etc. is down here, so I go back and forth. So Flint Reed, did you hear about the Russian embassy trying to order 175,000 passports as a way to get around travel sanctions for their elites? No, but whose passports do you mean? I'm not sure, Flint, what you're referring to. Oh, sorry, that wasn't a super chat, Flint. Sorry, I saw it earlier and I grabbed it, but because the Russians wouldn't be ordering Russian passports because that wouldn't get them around travel restrictions because they're Russians. Sorry, tell me more of what that is. Kevin Cunningham, what should America do for Ukraine after the war? Upgrade their military, have a U.S. base. After the war, holy cow. The stamps, sorry, real quick, the stamps sold out for $1,200 each in an hour from Poland. My God. I saw that they were $1,200 each for a set, and I was like, $1,200, Jesus. But wow, they sold out in an hour. That's amazing. Well, those Poles, they know their business. Apparently, I didn't know. So, I mean, what the U.S. should be doing after the war, for starters, there you go, you all right? What the U.S. should be doing, first of all, is obviously helping them rebuild overall the economy, and it's the world. There's going to have to be a massive reconstruction of Ukraine, akin to what happened with World War II after World War II in Europe and Japan, obviously. With the military, yeah, I mean, I think it's the same thing. Look, if we were able to give them weapons or sell them weapons or however it's done, the problem is it is going to have to be a lot of loans, and not loans, but purchases and things like that, because the Ukrainians can't afford this stuff. But we're going to have to build up their industries. As somebody just said, new farm equipment, help with cleanup. Exactly. Rosie Dog Mama, I love these names, is saying on TikTok. A Marshall Plan, basically, exactly. A Marshall Plan that helps both of them, but it's going to have to be military as well to build up their military so that they're strong enough to deter the Russians next time. A U.S. base would be interesting. The question for that is going to be, A, do the Ukrainians want it? Maybe. And B, does the U.S. want it? Like, is the U.S. or would the U.S. and NATO be too afraid? Well, forget NATO, the U.S., because NATO may not agree anyway, because Hungary, being Hungary, Orban's kind of an idiot, Urban. So would the U.S. want it? Then you get into the question of whether the U.S. is afraid, whether Biden's afraid. When I say afraid, I mean, oh, we won, but we don't want to rub Putin's nose in it, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I would say rub Putin's nose in it because it's not rubbing the nose. By putting U.S. troops there, that's a tripwire. He's not going to come in. If he comes in and attacks U.S. troops, he's attacked NATO. So de facto, you have made Ukraine a member of NATO without making Ukraine a member of NATO. So that's what I would do. But I agree with you. Not agree with you, but I think a military base, or at least soldiers doing I would say lots of soldiers doing trainings all over Ukraine in strategic locations. So the Russians know if they hit, they're in trouble. Stephanie Vanessa, are non-combatant evacuation operations only for Americans who are at war in a different country? Not sure what that means. If not, why can't it be done in Ukraine? Okay, non-combatant evacuation operations only for Americans who are at war in a different country. Why can't it be done in Ukraine? I guess what you mean is like evacuations happening in Afghanistan when we were trying to get people out, right? Although that was a very small window, and once that window closed, the evacuation became way harder, right? I mean, the thing is, I think evacuations, first of all, it depends. Well, evacuations, it takes two to evacuate. Okay, let me put it this way. Either both sides, both combatants have to agree to have a peace and let them out, or you've got to snooker, or you've got to have more power. So, okay, with the Taliban, we had agreed with the Taliban. We had a peace treaty that, again, Trump's treaty, Biden said, let's keep it, let's abide by it. That said, we had up until a certain date for American forces to leave, and the Taliban wouldn't attack them. So up until then, it was safe for our people to go. We had a lot of problems getting the Afghanis out, obviously, but that was where both sides agreed. You can have both sides not agreeing, and then it becomes more dangerous, and then you've got to run military operations to try to make it safe to get them out, control the airspace, which you'd need to do, or I don't know what you do for trains and things like that, but you'd have to find some kind of a safe route. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think what I had a third point I was going to make. Currently in Ukraine, the Russians don't want anybody getting out. I mean, obviously people can get out of Kyiv, but they can't get out of Mariupol because the Russians literally aren't letting them out. The Russians, I had posted a letter from a guy in Ukraine back who had gotten out of Mariupol, posted it like a month ago now. Actually, he had just gotten out at the end of March, and he was talking how every exit of the city he went to, there was a Russian soldier there who said, turn around. Oh, turn around. It's too dangerous. There's fighting here. But it was every exit of the city, right? Until finally they literally shepherded them all to Russia because they wanted them to go to Russia. So there was no getting them out. Azovstal, or however you pronounce the steel plant, same problem. When the Russians weren't bombing it day and night, they were able to at least get in supplies. They couldn't really get people out, but they could get supplies in. Now they can't even get supplies in because the Russians are bombing it day and night. So the problem is it takes two to tango, and it's not that nobody wants to get them out, but the Russians won't let them. Again, depending what you're talking about. If you're talking about Mariupol, the Russians won't let them get out, so they can't get them out. That's the. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's the problem. Definitely desire, on everyone's part. Sorry, I'm scrolling down now and getting the other questions thrown in here. Hang on, Harvey, Raggedy Android, Andrew. Okay, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to do one quick TikTok question just because we've got a lot of YouTube questions, and I want to, because the TikToks don't have a way of buying questions, I want to give them some for the wonderful gifts they give with the funky little corgis they give me. How will Russia respond to Finland joining NATO? Asks Isaac Standen. Isaac, I don't think they have a choice. I mean, they're going to get angry, but what can they do? They can't defeat NATO. They can't defeat Ukraine. What are they going to do? Marry you. Thanks, Gemma. What are they going to do? They're going to get pissed. Thank you for the hat. They can't afford to go to war. Again, if they attack Finland, then they're attacking NATO. And already the US and the UK have already given security agreements. So they're attacking the US and the UK if they attack Finland. So they can't, because again, they can't beat Ukraine. They can't afford a war, mind you, and a war in a totally other area. I mean, we're talking, is this 800 miles north or something? Ish. Maybe I'm a little high, 600, 800 miles north or more to go from, actually, somebody tell me, like to go from, let's say Kyiv, because Kyiv is near the Russian border, to go from there to the Finnish border, although mind you, it's a big Finnish border, but maybe the beginning of the Finnish border with Russia. How many miles is it if somebody wants to look at the map? And my dog is very pissed at the people walking their dogs, so we'll just have to deal with that today. But in case, there's not much they can do, really. I mean, no, they can futz around. They can, they'll invade the airspace, all the crazy stuff they're doing to the Swedes. They'll move more men up there and weapons. But again, who cares? Let them move all their men and weapons up there. They can't invade. They can't afford to invade because they'll be at war with all of NATO. And we now know how bad their military is, and they know that we know how bad their military is. I'm going to go yell at my dog in about 2 seconds here because she's off busy yelling at the people walking their dogs at night. And after a while, that's going to drive me crazy. Hold on. Sasha! Sasha, come here. She won't come here. Sasha, come on, get down. Get down. I try to use my tough guy voice. It doesn't work. She knows me. See, she stops for a second, but it's just going to start again. Oh, good girl. Come here, you. Come on. Good girl. You saved us. Here you go. There you go. Oh my God. And for that, we do a quick hello to the people. There you go. We are safe. The live is safe because Sasha has saved us. Also, that vicious little voice, and this is what she looks like. You are a terrier. You are my terrier queen. She's my terrier queen. Okay, so, we got that one covered. Javi. Sydney Council are changing the address of the Russian consulate of Australia to Ukraine Street. That's pretty good. They ought to do something more in your face about it. I'm not sure what that would be, but that's still pretty good. That's good. Raggedy Android. Buzz is someone, the buzz is that someone got to Macron and Germany through Macron. Oh God. I like Macron, but Jesus Christ, he's got his head on crazy about Russia, causing hesitancy. Also, appliances are looted by Russia for microchips. Oh, yeah, to control their equipment. No, that's true. What was I reading? Well, Syndicate, you sent me something about the appliances. What was it that? Well, it was just that, actually. It was that the Russians were having to raid appliances to get the computer chips to use for their weapons, because they couldn't get the computer chips for their weapons. Imagine using a computer chip like in a toaster or a microwave or a fridge. I mean, unbelievable. But Macron is going to appeal to Joe Biden's worst instincts. He's going to appeal to Scholz's worst instincts, and frankly, it's Europe's worst instincts over the years. Kind of let's not get the Russian bear too angry. Maybe we can work with them, and again, I get that. I don't get it now. Now, that is a crazy opinion to have. Normally, I'm game with, let's try to work with somebody, but this is BS at this point. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Macron's doing it, because Macron's the one who made he's the one who made one of the comments the other day about, we've got to find an out. We've got to find an out for Putin. We've got to, I'm paraphrasing here, but we've got to find a way for him to save face and exit gracefully. And it's like, I don't know. Mussolini didn't exit gracefully. The H-man didn't. We never worried about the Soviets exiting gracefully. So, I'm not so sure. And frankly, somebody raised this yesterday. The more graceful we are about letting Putin off the hook, the bigger chance there is that the lesson Putin takes is, hey, if I commit genocide, they're going to give me something in the end. That they shouldn't get anything in the end other than a prison cell. That was my PR. That's my sentence I would have put on a press release. Nothing but a prison cell. What do we got here? Andrew Mason. It would be glorious to put a U.S. Navy base at Sevastopol. Oh, yeah. Which has historically been one of Russia's most important Navy. one of the Soviet Union's most important Navy bases, you mean Andrew Mason. This is a mistake I make too, though. We've got to stop ascribing Soviet greatness to the Russians. The Ukrainians were part of the Soviet Union. The Ukrainians, I read the other day, had 25% of the troops that, so 25% of the Russian army was Ukrainian. So like they get a big bunch of credit. Sevastopol, Ukrainian naval base, but it's one of the most important bases, and it would be fabulous. Yes. Oh, having a U.S. naval base there, or a joint U.S. Ukrainian. Well, that's another thing too. The Ukrainians never really had a navy. We need to build up a Ukrainian navy. That would piss off the Russians. I'm all for pissing off the Russians at this point. I really am. I mean, I wouldn't just say we only piss off the Russians, but there's a part of me that's like, these guys need to learn a lesson. And this may be, we don't want Germany World War I. We do, however, want Germany World War II. And honestly, Germany World War II is we got rid of the bad guys, and then we denazified the culture, the country, and helped them create a democracy. I would love that in Russia, but we can't because they got nukes and whatever. So it'd be nice if they overthrew their own guys. Nathan, thank you for that. That was sweet of you. Let me just look here. Make sure I didn't miss anybody on the super chat. I don't think I did. And then I'm going to jump over to TikTok again. TikTok questions. I haven't seen anything about Russian soldiers taking their lives. No, has that been in the press? I didn't see that. I wouldn't be surprised with everything going on, but I didn't see that. I didn't. I don't know why Flint Syndicate's thing popped up there. I do not think there will be a nuclear war. You should not be scared, Corey. No. Here's the thing. As I said, the only way it's going to happen is literally like a crazy person doing something, because this whole thing with the nuclear submarines, it's important. We have nuclear submarines that have lots of nuclear weapons on them under the sea. The British have got the same thing. The Russians have got the same thing. What is nice about this is, believe it or not, but they will survive a nuclear war. So if the Russians were to be nasty and attack us out of the blue, our submarines survive, we would shoot back and destroy all of Russia. If we decided to be nasty, we are the Brits, and launch our attack at the Russians and destroy Russia, their submarines would survive and they would destroy all of our cities. The good thing, it's called mutually assured destruction, MAD, ironically, but it's the strategy we had with the Soviets going back, 1949 or whenever it was, that basically says we know we can destroy each other and therefore we won't do it. So as long as you've got, thank you, Poppy, as long as you've got rational actors there who are running the countries, you can keep things safe. The problem becomes if you're dealing with a crazy person. Now, I am not convinced that we're dealing with a crazy person in terms of Putin. I think, as I tell people, he's crazy, but he's not crazy. I just don't buy that. I'm looking at the questions on the screen to make sure I got all you guys. I don't buy it. As I'm talking, Flint is having just too much fun here. I'm just putting it up. I'm not even going to TikTokers. He paid for a comment that says, "Do not read the super chat. Too late. You read it." We're getting a little too slap happy here, folks. A little too familiar. I should have had you calling me doctor, like in Europe, dottore. You should call me dottore. So anyway, I do a JD. I'm a dottore. So in any case, so we can destroy each other. And even though that's kind of freaky, it's actually good because it means all three sides, in this case, the three, or France. France, I don't think has nuclear submarines like we do, though. They may. France may have some nuclear submarines, too. If they do, then France could do the same thing. We know that we could destroy each other, so it means we wouldn't be stupid enough to attack each other with nuclear weapons. That's a good thing. And that's why I think this nuclear war thing is crazy, because we're not talking about crazy people. Putin is an ass. He's not crazy, right? Medved has become an ass. He's not crazy. The Russian generals are definitely not crazy. The Russian generals know exactly what's going to happen. Their country is going to disappear. Their wives, their mistresses, and their children are going to disappear if we go to nuclear war, and they don't want that. So no. Now, what you have to worry about is some kind of an accident causing something, or this kind of thing. Like we think they're attacking us and we attack them first. That kind of a thing, sure. But that's not what we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with, I would say, rational people who are still a bit children, and they don't know what else to say, so they're talking about nukes because it's freaking them out. because they've lost and they just don't know what else to say. France does have nuclear subs. That's what I thought. Okay, thanks, Raymond. I thought that. I actually saw a good French movie about their nuclear subs. It was pretty good. It was about like 2 subs, and the one was the guy who's the young, kind of cute guy with the ear things who knows how to listen for subs, and he's got to find the other sub that's their friends, but it was sent to attack the Russians, and they have to take it out. It was a good movie, actually. But that was my introduction. If the movie's true, France has subs. But you confirmed that France does have nuclear subs, so thank you. I'm just here to see some of the other comments here. Okay, nothing here. Let me jump back to another TikTok question. Hang on, guys. Put my glasses on. How much longer can Ukraine last? I mean, well, logistically, they got us. I mean, Nick Pereira asks, logistically, how long can Ukraine last? I mean, logistically, they've got us. So logistically, they can, I guess, okay, different couple logistics. They're getting a lot of weapons from us. They're getting a lot of munitions. Are they getting food? I don't know. Food and water they're going to need. They still have to figure out their own logistics to make it work. They'd have to be able to set up the supply chain that the Russians are trying to interfere with. Get stuff by train, get stuff by road. So that I'm not sure about. I mean, I think there's still concern about Ukraine maybe not having enough stuff yet, right? But overall, they could last for years as long as we're supporting them for years. And we've at least made clear we will. The question becomes, will we? But well, here's the problem. I mean, again, I'm not getting political here. Donald Trump wins the presidency. Everything, all bets could be off. I mean, and I'm just going to, again, I'm not making this political at all, but my point is it depends on who's running the American government at that point. Biden has made clear that he's going to stick with it, though I think Biden also would like peace. So Biden would like to find a way to give Putin an out. I think that's true. But Biden would also support Ukraine. Trump gets in there, and you're getting that whole ball of wax of Trump thinking that Ukraine actually tried to hurt him in the election. There's a conspiracy theory about something with Ukraine, and it's back to Hillary Clinton and everything else. So he thinks Ukraine's the enemy, and he's not a big fan of NATO. So combining those together, Trump, and he will have a lot of people around him. I mean, the crazier part of the far right, the problem is, like Tucker Carlson's going to have Trump's ear probably, are going to tell him, these guys, the Ukrainians are criminals. Why are we beating up on Putin? Look how good it was with Putin before. You had such a great relationship with Putin. We need a good relationship with Putin. There are more important things. Trump could cut this off. And unfortunately, that's the problem. That's a big problem with American foreign policy going forward. And I mean, that's, again, I'm not getting into the right and left aspect because it's just a fact that if you keep switching back and forth between governments that are willing to do one thing and then the other, but literally support a war, don't support a war, support NATO, don't support NATO, then you can't really count on American support at all. And I've said this. I don't think this is the problem. I don't think NATO can count on America necessarily. So you can count on the Brits and everybody else. But if Finland and Sweden get attacked by the Russians and somebody else is in power, Trump's in power, I'm not convinced you can count on it. I mean, again, I think a lot of Republicans would be supportive, but unfortunately, I don't think Trump would be. And the question then becomes, who wins that battle? But in any case, so that's a red flag or whatever, or gets thrown in the mix as to how long Ukraine could last. That scares me a little bit after our 2024 presidential elections, what might happen. Syndicate says there are around 20 nuclear weapons stored at the Dutch airbase at Volkel in the Netherlands. While the official policy is not to confirm or deny their presence, they're there. Okay, well, there are nuclear weapons stored in 5 NATO countries, I read, meaning beyond the obvious ones, beyond like Britain and France. Turkey's got some, Holland, I'm calling you, the Netherlands, and I'm forgetting who else, maybe Germany, maybe Poland, I'm forgetting. There were 5 of them that I saw that have got the nukes, but they're not submarines though. So, you wouldn't be able to survive the nuclear war with them, but nonetheless, it's interesting though. All right, hopefully we've decided who isn't a troll on YouTube. Let me grab another question from you TikTokers. Got 15 more minutes. Today we've had I didn't have too much news. It was good news though. YouTube has been going for a while. It has not only just started, it not only did not start, it's been starting for an hour now. I don't know how long the war is going to last. But what I mean is it could, Russia's doing badly. Russia's going to be doing even more poorly. Russia's going to be doing even more poorly. But Russia's going to try to hang on to the land. And the question is how long. The question is how long can Russia hang on to the land? I'm kind of more interested, not in how long it can last, because Russia could be the guy in Monty Python that has no arms, no legs, no feet, and he wants to bite your ankles. I mean, that's still the war, I guess. But how long will it take for the Ukrainians to push the Russians out of their country? At least the initial part, put Crimea aside, out of the eastern Ukraine entirely, right? Out of the south entirely, short of Crimea. What would that take? I don't know. I don't know what that would take. So, and Syndicate, thanks for helping that person. I appreciate it. Let me pull up another question here, and then I will look around also at your guys' other questions on YouTube. One moment here. Do Russians even have tanks left? Yes. But the funny thing is, I was looking at the numbers the other day, and the Ukrainians have more tanks today than they had before they started the war. And that takes into account all the tanks the Russians have destroyed, but it also takes into account all the tanks that the Ukrainians have taken from the Russians. So the Ukrainians literally have more than they started with. The Russians have a lot less than they started with. And in the Russians' case, they've lost a lot of their really good equipment, which is some of what is also hindering them now. They're getting sort of the less good equipment. Poland, Papa Bear XS, what did Poland do to the Russian ambassador? Poland, I'm going to see if I still have the video, didn't do anything, but activists did. The Russian ambassador, May 9th is the day that the Russians celebrate their single-handed victory over the Nazis that none of us, I said the word, that none of us were involved in. Europe, America, nobody, my glasses are crooked, aren't they? Nobody fought the Nazis other than Russia. And it wasn't the Soviet Union, it was Russia. Ukraine gets no credit. So they celebrated on May 9th to be different from the rest of us. We all celebrate on May 8th, the end of the Nazis. And the Russian ambassador to Poland was at a ceremony or something commemorating Russia's single-handed victory over the Nazis. And some people, I've got the video, I'll show you. I will show you the video. Some activists were there, or crowd that was not happy. My guess is they were Ukrainians and probably, and Ukrainian sympathizers. I mean, this was clearly, Poles. The Poles have been very good to the Ukrainians. I suspect there's a lot of Poles who were not happy too. And they're in this picture, you're going to see him. They're yelling at him and saying fascists, or fascists plural. It's fascisti, fascisti. So let me show you this really quick. Watch him. The guy with the red. See, then he gets hit really bad. I don't know what there was another word like booyah or something that two different people said. I don't know if anybody there speaks Polish or Ukrainian, but I'm wondering if it wasn't just a yeah kind of exaltation, or was it an expression in one of the languages? I was just curious. Anyway, that's what happened to the Russian ambassador. So the Russians got a little peeved over it and demanded an apology and everything. They threw red paint on him, symbolizing blood. It wasn't blood. Let me pull up Syndicate. I've got yours, Harvey Bristol Cream. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson stated to the BBC that he believes there is virtually no way back to the global community for Putin. Interestingly, should we be encouraging more world leaders to take more definitive stances? The question becomes whether he blushes easily. That was cute. The Russian ambassador blushes easily. Somebody said on TikTok. The question becomes, what do we want going forward? Okay. And I don't what do we want going forward? What's the best way to achieve it? And possibly it's to ostracize Russia entirely. Maybe we treat, what is it? It's not even constructive engagement. It's, what did we call it? I mean, it's what you would do to the apartheid government, South Africa back then. And it's a containment, whether it's just containment. And you say, no, we're not appeasing these guys anywhere. We're cutting them out of everything possible. And I mean, literally, I want someone, Syndicate, this sounds like another job for you. I was looking at the map today of Europe and showing what happens when Finland joins NATO, because currently you've got like a more or less NATO kind of doing this, and these are the Baltic states. Well, with Finland joining, you've got this, and to me, it looked like a big Pac-Man eating Russia. You got to look. It's a Pac-Man eating Russia, because I was seeing on CNN, they showed the colored, they showed a color, like all one solid color of NATO. And I totally want somebody to show a Pac-Man eating Russia. And I think it would be fabulous. And of course, our officials would be very upset about that because nobody wants to eat Russia. But I think it'd be funny. But no, so I think you've got a question of whether you want good cop, bad cop with Boris. Like you want Boris to be the bad cop who says, no, Russia gets nothing. You want Macron to be the good cop who says, please, let's give Russia everything. And you kind of compromise in between. I don't know. Currently, as I said, I am much more favoring the bad cops because I think Russia gets nothing right now. You shouldn't even give them a fig leaf right now. Putin still thinks he's going to pull this off in the long run. Putin still thinks he's going to drag this out and he's going to make us tired and drop the sanctions and everything else. So any noise out of anybody right now, but we've got to give him an out, is telling Putin, look at them. They're already, if I were Putin, I'd go, look at them. It's been 2 months. I'm losing and they're still trying to give me an out. They're not even trying to beat me. They're worried. They're more worried about me losing than I am. If I were Putin, I'd be saying, right? So, Mikola, I heard about it, and Syndicate was telling me about it too, and I didn't see the video yet. There's video in Austria of a girl getting taken away by the police for wearing a Ukrainian flag. And she was protesting, I think, a pro-Russian protest, and I didn't see it. I gotta say, I'm not as up on the Austrians as I am like the rest of Europe, but like, do they have a problem? I just like, I go back again. I don't want to be mean to the Austrians, but you've got like the Kurt Waldheim thing. I'm not even going to go back to World War II, but the Kurt Waldheim thing was a little bizarre. I know that now is taking you back 20, 30 years, but the recent weird comments that one of their people said about, interesting. That's interesting. The recent comments, one of the leaders, or who was she? Somebody in Austria, government or whatever, said that the Ukrainians can't join NATO or the EU for decades because they need to learn our culture first. And it just sounded like, like, lady, get a skull and crossbones on your head while you're at it. Just ugh. So yeah, I did not see that yet, and I've got to get it. So I apologize. I actually forgot about it. I was going to look for it and then totally forgot to get it for today. Yeah. Hello, Christopher again. You think the U.S. will get sick of the war? I know already some of my neighbors are more worried about gas prices, inflation, and baby food shortage. Yeah. No, it's trending. Certainly when you watch the news here in the States, they're covering Ukraine. Thank you for that, Tina. They're covering Ukraine, but but Ukraine's getting, it used to be like the hour. It's getting 10 minutes of the hour, sometimes maybe 15 total. And they've got like the generals checking in and sort of telling you where things stand and whatever, but it's not getting as much of the hourly coverage. But having said, I don't know. Let's see what happens. I don't know. I think you've got a lot of people you got me vested in it. You got a lot of people vested in it, and I'm not sure it's gonna stop anytime soon. I don't know. All right, guys, be nice. Christopher's, if it's this Christopher, he's a good guy. We like him. He supported us before. So if it's him, lay off. CNN was just showing U.S. military exercises and scared the hell out of you. Yes, we are not at war with Russia. Don't worry. Austria wanted to, Raymond, this is funny. Austria wanted to partition Ukraine with Russia like they did to Poland in 1762. Oh, that's interesting. Well, we're a little worried about Hungary too, right? We know there was a report that Putin had made offers to Poland and Hungary to give them chunks of Ukraine, I guess if they supported the war or something. And Poland definitely said no. Hungary, I'm not so sure. With, again, Orban, love you Hungarians. Your president or your prime minister, whatever the hell he is scary as F. Will Belarus invade? I don't think so. Oh, Yulia, it's funny. I don't even see your name and I pick your questions, Yulia, because they're that good. This is funny. I keep getting Yulia Anna questions. I don't think Belarus is going to invade. No, I think, I've said this before, I think what Belarus is doing Belarus, oops, sorry to get you guys, trying to get my head up above the comments. Belarus is Ukraine's neighbor to the north. Ukraine has Russia to the northeast. They have Belarus to the northwest, straight up and over. And the Belarusians have been Putin's partner in all of this. They haven't declared war. They haven't sent troops in that we know of into Ukraine, but they did allow the Russians to move men through Belarus and come down so they could come down from a different position and attack, right? Multiple fronts. Well, the Belarusians have been now, doing troop maneuvers and movements, and apparently they've moved troops and weapons to their border with Ukraine. And there's concern about the Belarusians invading. Unless the Belarusians want to die, they're not going to invade. No one thinks the Belarusians have a chance of invading against Ukraine. What is probably taking place, thank you, Lucy, for that. What is probably taking place is the Belarusians are moving their troops there because Putin asked them to. He probably asked them to invade, and they said, are you crazy? I can't invade. My people are going to, even though I'm a dictator, thank you, Flower, for that. Even though my people are I'm a dictator, I can't get away with that. So he's moving troops to the border to get the Ukrainians to move their troops to the border just in case. And when the Ukrainians move, say, a couple thousand troops to the Belarusian border, those are a couple thousand troops that aren't fighting the Russians elsewhere. So they're sitting on their butts waiting for a possible war and not getting anything done, right? So that's why they're doing it. And frankly, it's the same thing that's going on right now with Transnistria, with Moldova. All we're seeing really happen is a lot of nothing, and the Ukrainians having to worry about, well, what if the Russians want to do something with Moldova? We better move some troops over just in case and not have them fighting the Russians over in Kherson where they should be. So I think it's the same thing. It's just a ploy to make the Ukrainians waste some troops in somewhere where they're not needed. I'm just looking here too. Oh, that's interesting. Solomia, who I think we talked about this year, Ukrainian, said back in 2014, I'm not sure which they you mean, used to put pictures on TV of Ukraine broken up for Poland, Hungary, and Russia with only middle Ukraine left. Interesting. Who's that? Probably the Russians, I'm guessing. Who else would put it on TV? All right, guys, I'm going to jump back to TikTok. Hang on a sec. Wow, this is a tough question. Kevin Bytor asks, should the U.S. give security to Ukraine, meaning a security guarantee to Ukraine after the war? Hey, relax. We're not playing ball yet. You got 15 minutes. My dog is like the clock here. I'm not even 15 minutes. Fair enough. It's 6:12, but I'm going a little late because I'm enjoying this. So you got to wait. I have these conversations. I don't know if you heard that. That's my dog pissed off that I'm still doing this and we're not playing BAL. I know. Hi. I know. You got to wait. You got to wait. Okay? No. They can hear you. It's embarrassing. She's doing her little. Sorry. We're getting close to her time. She knows around 6:15. She's learning is the time I start throwing the ball. Any case. I'm losing myself here. Losing hi to TikTokers for us YouTubers. Oh, Flint says hi to the TikTokers from the YouTubers. We're trying to have a little crossover. We're having a crossover tonight. What was I going to say? The security guarantee. Yeah, I mean, that gets very interesting. So should the U.S. give a security guarantee to Ukraine after the war? I mean, the problem you've got is what we guarantee. Let's say, for example, that the Russians still have Crimea and we give Ukraine a security guarantee. What happens if Ukraine starts fighting with Russia over Crimea? Does the U.S. What I mean is a security guarantee that's you attack Ukraine, we're at war, like a NATO security guarantee. We don't want to be at war with Russia if Russia invades Ukraine again. We want to be able to help Russia, but we don't really want to be at war with them. So that's where it gets a little fudgy. But this is why I almost would prefer what we talked about earlier, almost a less than guarantee where we put U.S. troops there. We have lots of U.S. troops there. maybe even some the U.S. bases they'd get pissed about, but let them get pissed, the Russians. And that way, the Russians know if they attack, we're there, and they risk killing us. If they bomb Ukrainian military bases, they risk bombing American soldiers, and then they risk being at war with us. Because, to quote several famous Russians, you wouldn't want nuclear war, would ya? I mean, I wish we would start throwing that back at them and going, yeah, you're right. The risk of nuclear war is too great. So as I said in my TikTok video, so stop pissing me off. Stop pissing us off, Russia, because nuclear war is too great a threat. Maybe you should start thinking about how you can kowtow to us and get on your knees and beg forgiveness so maybe we don't get into nuclear war with you. But it's the same argument goes both ways. So I'd like us to maybe have the troops or something because it's a way of not having the agreement, but having the agreement. And it's not just a border skirmish that triggers the war. It's the Russians literally killing American troops. Now, the American public may not like that. Just really quick, because you get into this whole issue of Afghanistan and Iraq. There's a lot of fatigue right now. It's actually very interesting that, and I'll say, I will credit Biden with this one, though. Biden and frankly the world leaders in general, but being able to rally the American people to supporting Ukraine like they are. Like I said, we've got ribbons tied around trees in my Chicago suburb for Ukraine. We've got entire blocks that have Ukrainian flags in front of each house. It's all over the town. And, friends have told me this in other small towns around America. It's kind of amazing. And especially because we just left Afghanistan and Iraq, and the country felt like 20 years of war was enough. And now we're kind of back into a war. And so far, people are accepting it, which is very interesting. But that's a very delicate dance. And these security guarantees will play into that dance as well, so to speak. Syndicate. I'm going to yawn at 6:15. Oh, have you seen the deep fake video of Zelensky telling his people to lay down their weapons? Yeah, that's from a couple weeks ago. If it's the one I'm thinking, there was one several weeks ago. Actually, I shouldn't say I saw the video. I saw it being reported, and I saw a quick clip. And I didn't watch it because it was in Ukrainian anyway. I should have watched it to see how it worked. But that thing, it's got to be a couple weeks old, unless there's a new one. But there was one a couple weeks old. I mean, scary, scary stuff. We can talk for a couple more minutes here, and then I'm going to call it quits just because I get tired. But what else we got here? I'll try to see if there's another. Oh, sorry, yawning at you. That had to be really gross. I'm sorry. The Russians have been creating dinosaurs. Yeah, it'd be better if Europe was in on it. I agree. Oh God, what is this? Mikhail saying a family went back to Bucha, which is the town with the horrific war crimes, and the daughter wanted to play the piano. Oh my God, luckily the mom saw that the Russians had mined the piano keys and saved her. Jesus Christ. No, we knew this. We've known this. And I got to say this too. This is a problem for the Europeans as well. It's a problem for us, and it's a problem for all of us. We knew who the Soviets were back in the day, right? The Soviets were terrorizing Eastern Europe. They held Eastern Europe. I mean, they killed their own people, and they also held Eastern Europe hostage for nearly 50 years. We knew who the Soviets were, and we still pandered. The U.S. didn't pander as much. Some European governments, some European leaders pandered to the Russians. I will say, and I don't want to get on my American high horse, but there were a lot of warnings. I remember this when I studied abroad in Europe in the early 80s, 83, 84. There was already the discussion, maybe it was that first Nord Stream pipeline or whatever, but there was discussions of a pipeline from Russia, and the Americans were warning, oh my God, do not get yourselves beholden to Russia. And the Europeans thought it was a good idea. And I just, it's not just the Europeans, but I think like across the board. And actually, maybe this is also the Sweden and Finland thing. I'm not trying to criticize, but say that attitudes change. And maybe at one point it made sense thinking, they're on our border, they can run us over. Maybe we've got to find a way to live with them, right? And now we're kind of saying, if we want to live, maybe we can't live with them as if we're trying to keep people alive. I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to sort of knock things, but Daniel, your ever generous self is back. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for being all over this horrible war and for all the Ireland mentions. Hey, thanks to you, Ireland's getting nuked too. for just hangout time. My money is on Ukraine winning the Eurovision. Oh yeah, well, we can segue over to hangout. Okay, we're segueing it over to hangout time, where we all hang and just talk about non-Ukraine war stuff. And I always say, unless someone, and I'll see what this other one is, unless someone throws in a super chat question, I'm always happy to, I'll answer any super chat Ukraine questions. Otherwise, we are stopping with the Ukraine questions, but we will still hang out and talk amongst ourselves for about 10 minutes, which is always fun. Your money is on Ukraine winning the Eurovision. The song is pretty good too. Might even watch it for the first time in years. I've never watched it because we Americans don't do that kind of thing. It's never been as big a thing here, though I guess it's growing. I did see the first song, or I saw that snippet of the first song that the Ukrainians did. Was it Kalush Orchestra or Kalusha Orchestra? Kalush maybe? And I've got to watch them now. I mean, I would love to see. I've got to watch it and see. But to see what their song is. When are they playing? Is this well, I guess it's already nighttime. It's already midnight in Europe. So how long does this even go? Does it go over like Kalush? Okay, there you go, Kalush. Does this go, do they drag it out over like the whole week or something? I'm guessing they probably have different semifinals each, or well, we're in the finals, but I don't quite know how they do it. But this ends, this ends when we feel like it. It'll probably end at 6:30. Like I said, we're in the, hey, stop. Oh, well, now she's trying to get my mom's dog to play. That's what's going on in the background now. Yeah, I speak dog. But I don't know that. Yeah, I want to, sorry, I'll go back to the question and see what people are saying about when it is. It's several days of semifinals now. Oh, I see. 2 semifinals, and then finals are Saturday. Final is 2015 till midnight, wherever you are. Watched it today. Oh, okay. I've got to watch them. I'm sure it's on, oh, right. It'll be on YouTube. Of course it will. I was going to say YouTube or TikTok. It's got to be. No, because I love that. And I liked the clothing, like the half Ukrainian clothing. I loved the song, at least the previous song, because it was traditional Ukrainian music mixed with something modern. And it was really, hello, Malta. You're a little late. We're hanging out now and not talking Ukraine, but you are still very welcome to join us while we just hang out a little bit. Sasha did come for a visit earlier. Kukla is roaming the house, and that's why Sasha's barking, because Sasha's trying to get Kukla to bark or to play with her, and Kukla's not doing it. But I'm with you. I think there is going to be an incredible sympathy vote for Ukraine, obviously, right? And the question is, if they're good enough, they can ride it. But there's going to be a strong sympathy vote. I don't think the judges in general, who knows, judges, but they wouldn't want to vote for Ukraine just because. But in my opinion, knowing people in politics, Ukraine has to give them a reason that passes the laugh test, as I say, meaning Ukraine's got to be good enough to win. And unless there's now, if there are other people good enough to win, but not better, then it's Ukraine. If somebody's obviously better, then I think the judges are going to say we don't have a choice. But if you've got 2 or 3 that are just as good as Ukraine, it's going to Ukraine. And that's where the war will help them, and it would be wonderful anyway. It'd be a wonderful, oh, tell people what Eurovision is. Eurovision, somebody's asking on YouTube what Eurovision is. That's a damn good question. Somebody put up a good explanation and I will read it to folks, or I will put it up there. And sorry, while that's coming up, Brash Brannigan says, I forgot about this. Friend of mine says the U.S. has sent so much arms to Ukraine, they've left themselves weak. Any truth to that? I've not read up a lot on that. No one's talking about that yet. First of all, I don't think we would leave ourselves weak to start with. I will say this, the new bill that is being voted on, that was voted in the House, that has oops, hang on here. Oh, here we go. The $40 billion with a B bill. Biden wanted $33 billion or so, and the U.S. House of Representatives gave him $40 billion. That is going to include, I read, like $20 billion in, I believe, in military spending that will go to the U.S. Pentagon to buy weapons, to build more of the weapons we gave away. So to replenish our stocks. So, look, per se, if if the U.S. gave away weapons we had, we then don't have the weapons, right? So, I hear that. But I doubt that, actually somebody else is saying this here too, Syndicate. He highly doubts it. It sounds like something the Russians may be trying to spread because the U.S. spends more on its military than 144 countries. That's the thing. It comes down to, first of all, how many wars do we try to fight? I think we gave up years ago. We used to have a two-front war, maybe even a three-front war doctrine. I forget about that, how many, but basically that we could fight, China and Russia at the same time, or something in Latin America or whatever. And we lowered it, and I don't know if we lowered it to just a one-front war or not. But I haven't been hearing it yet. I haven't been hearing it from anybody serious yet. But again, we are funding it. The question is, what stuff are we giving? How long will it take to get it? Now, actually, here's a point. A lot of what we've been giving Ukraine has been old Soviet weapons, right? A lot of the tanks going Soviet. A lot of the munitions, Soviet. So you've had a lot of Soviet machinery, which we all had stocked up. And I'm kind of curious as to why we had it stocked up. Maybe we had it stocked up. I don't know. I'm not sure why we even kept these stockpiles, but we did. So you got to take that into account too. How much of NATO's weapons did we really spend? Not NATO's. I mean, how much of the U.S.'s weapons, or were they Soviet stockpiles that we were never going to use them anyway? I mean, we had them for some purpose, but it's not like our guys were going to use them, right? This is a good one too. It's like the World Series of Music. There you go. Lori. I'm just looking at the other comments here. ABBA is about all that's discussed with Eurovision in the US. It's true. Hey, let me tell you this. When I went to Sweden, I was laughing because ABBA was everywhere. I'm in a bar, they're playing ABBA. I went to a political convention for these, for the Social Democrat. I'm forgetting what it is. The Social Democrats? I forget what you call it in Sweden. And the Social Democrats. And we were having this like big picnic thing outside, really cool. And ABBA's they've got a band on playing covers, a band playing on the stadium, and the band is playing ABBA. And I'm laughing because everywhere I'm going, I like ABBA, but everywhere I'm going, I'm hearing ABBA. And it was like a Swedish stereotype. Like all you needed was the Swedish chef from I Know You, Hi, I See You, from the Muppet Show. It was we claim ABBA, but I got to tell you, it's all over. Hey, no, come here. Come on up. No. I'm going to throw it. So actually, that's right. We're in playtime. I'm calling this playtime, my chat with you guys. We're in chat time. You know what? I don't have the ball. What did you do with it? So I'm trying to find my dog's ball as we chat here. And of course, it's MIA, missing in action because it was already thrown on the ground. Sasha, I don't know where it is. Is it down there? Get your ball. Is it down there? Oh, I'm in trouble here, folks. Hold on. Since we're in the hanging out period, I am allowed to take a second and look for my dogs. You want to play too? Oh. If you would play with my dog, she wouldn't be getting me up, Where's the ball? No? I think you did something with it, didn't you? You did something with it. I know. I got people here, Sasha. People to see. Wars to talk about. You know what, Sash? You did something with it, and now you expect me to find it, and this is the way it always is. One of these days, I don't know what she did with it. Oh, well. Oh, it's right. It's literally behind my coffee mug. Okay, the dog was right. All right. Sorry. Oh my. Yes, we're at the, okay, bring it here. Okay. Oh, she's teasing me now. You teasing me? Yeah. Boosh! We play ball. As I said, this is the part where we just chat amongst ourselves, so I'm allowed to play ball. Oh, again? Okay. Boosh! Now, we did do a walk around the block, but we didn't go farther, but it was 92 out. So I thought I was a pretty good dog dad bringing her out for around the block when it's 92. 92, I don't know. I'm going to guess that's 30-ish in Celsius. It's a lot. So they came home very tired, but of course my dog was very tired, and then it's been now 2 hours and she's perked up again, of course. 13, you're 12 and a half and you act like a puppy. Act your age. Oh, now she's teasing me. Oh, there we go. Okay. She either teases me and won't pretends to let the ball go and grabs it, or she runs to the end of the room and cheats before I can even throw it. Again? Okay. Oh, now you're teasing me. Oh. Tease up. Tease up. Oh, run. Someone's got energy. Sorry, what else is going on? I've never been to Finland. I would love to go. I've been to Sweden. Loved Sweden, but oh my God, how expensive is Sweden? I would love to go to Norway. The only thing that scares me about Norway is I was told that Norway is even, your dog's looking for the squeaker. I know, that's the bad part. My friend Marion showed me a video of her dog. When I squeaked it, her dog went, but I was, where is it, Sasha? You dropped it. Where? Oh, here it is. Boom! The Norway, I'm told, is even more expensive than Sweden, which scared me. And Finland, not zero. Yeah. Americans don't think of Finland a lot. It's sort of like away, it's funny, but it's away. So we just, but even Scandinavia, we like the idea of going, to the rest of Scandinavia, we like the idea of going, but we don't go as often as, for us, it's Paris and Rome and London are the big three, I would say. And then you get to Madrid, and then you get to Germany, Greece, of course. Greece still may not be number one, still going to be Paris, and then probably London and Rome. But yeah, Denmark. I've been in your airport. Lovely airport in Denmark. I was very impressed. I'm actually serious. The Denmark airport was gorgeous, and you had beautiful shopping. I got the really cool blue and white, these like blue and white old designed kind of like old post office or whatever, but like old Europe. They were gorgeous little ceramic things. I can put my mic back on, I guess, now that I'm done. I've got to travel again. I have not, the Northern Lights, I know. I have not traveled in a long time, and I've got to, now that I'm meeting all of you guys, I can travel for free again. Yay. No, but I've got to travel. I haven't traveled in a long time, and then COVID made it even worse, and all of that. Hello. Oh, Kukla coming up. All right. What else? Estonia, but that's the Baltic Republic, because I've never been, which I'd love to go. And honestly, America, I've been to Morocco twice. Morocco's wonderful. Eastern Europe, I don't know either, really. Western Europe, I know. Eastern Europe, East Germany, it was Eastern Europe, so I've been there. But otherwise, Greece, haven't been to former Yugoslavia. Forget, Bulgaria, Romania, which also kind of fascinated me being Greek, just because, like the closeness factor, and the history as well, obviously, with just the horrible historical, Ceausescu. Actually, I'd love to see where Ceausescu was shot. Are the bullet holes still in the wall? I would go there in a flash. Canada, I love. I've been to Canada. I want to go to Canada more. I've never been to Montreal, and I have to. I like Canadians. Canada was fun. Okay, here we go. Make a choice from Lori. Would you rather be able to detect any lie you hear or get away with any lie you tell? Oh, this is a problem. Lori's giving me an option here. The problem is, if you can detect any lie you hear, you could be a very unhappy person, because it's almost like people who, on TV who are mind readers or whatever, and they can hear everybody's thoughts. And if you can hear everybody's thoughts, it's a disaster, because, what makes us all get along is not always knowing what everybody thinks, right? That kind of helps. So that would be trouble. Get away with any lie you tell. The thing is, I don't tell lies a lot. I don't need to tell lies that I can get away with. So that's kind of a bust, So the question would be whether I would choose the second one by default, even though I wouldn't use it, because I'm just not much of a liar. Or the first one, I would be, okay, let me put it this way. I would want to detect any lie you hear as long as I could turn it on and off. That would be good. I wouldn't want to use it with just anybody, but if I'm like, dealing with the repair guy on the phone who's BSing me and then turn it on, that I would like. That would be good. So there's your answer. Flint Reed, you'd like to detect lies well? Yeah. It's not always easy, though. Some people are good liars. That's what, some politicians are good liars. It's what helps them rise in the polls and everything else. What else we got here? I'm just looking. I am gonna close up in a moment, since I think we're pretty much up to date here. I'm just looking. Yep, I didn't. Oops, excuse me. I'm yawning. That was only the second yawn, I think. So I think I did pretty well today. And what else? Poker face. Having a poker face would be good, I guess. People are discussing this on TikTok too. Oh, and we have multi languages. I see Scandinavian languages flying around on TikTok as well. There. Oop. Yes.
Are you finished?
I'm almost finished.
Okay, let me know when you're finished.
Okay. That was Mom checking in. I think we're trying to figure out dinner because I can smell the French fries, as we call them, frites. Oh, Christy, thank you. Okay, this time I did forget Christy, so you got me on that one. I know, hi, Mom. I think we're trying to figure. Oh, that's right, because Mom was gonna. Mom. I love how my mom like forgets the food I likes. She goes, "Do you like shrimp?" I'm like, do I like shrimp? Do I like shrimp? Hello. So we're gonna. I think and hope we're having shrimp tonight. I'm not sure, but I was hoping so, because I like shrimp. And there's a really nice Greek way, but we don't have feta. The Greeks will make shrimp with a tomato sauce and feta cheese. And the hot, you want a really hot tomato sauce starts to melt the feta cheese. So it almost starts to make its own sauce with the feta and the shrimp. Oh my God. And it's very easy. I literally use spaghetti sauce that I make. All you need is you cook the shrimp separately, even get pre-cooked shrimp, but cook the shrimp separately. And when the dish is ready, throw the shrimp in with the hot sauce and throw feta in and mix it. And it's enough to make it start to melt. And usually you can warm your shrimp enough. Worst comes to worst, throw your shrimp in some hot water or something for a second, just to, whatever. But super easy dish. And you can eat it as is. I like to eat it with spaghetti or something. We can eat it with rice, or you can eat it with, not spaghetti. What do we eat it with? You can do it with spaghetti though. Yeah. I mean, the Greeks would do it rice. The Greeks would use rice, but spaghetti, pasta can be good with it as well. So there you go. Or as I learned, you guys say in Ukraine, macaronu or macaroni, which I thought was very cute, because in Greek we say macaronia, which was very funny because we used to say macaroni in America going back, but now we say pasta because we got more erudite, more educated. But macaroni was the big thing. Was what's your general idea about mask? I don't know what that means. Maybe talking to somebody else, Jim. In any case, okay, guys. I've never been to Kos. No, I know Marcos though. Melitsas, who's from Kos. I've never been to Kos. No, nope, don't know. Anybody else been to Kos to give Syndicate some advice before I hang up here? And then I'm going to fly away. Macaroni and finish. That's funny. Oh, parveke. That's funny. Yeah, it's funny how the word, from Italian kind of got there, but macaroner in Swedish, funny. I never knew that. So clearly with Greek macaronia, it picked up from Italy. Love you, Tamahene, maybe. That's interesting though. Yeah, that's interesting. Because again, like saying macaroni now would be funny to say macaroni. It's just, it's what we grew up saying, macaroni, but for pasta. But now we'd say pasta. Yeah, macaron in Polish. Not to be confused with a macaron in French. Macaron. Boy, all of you use it. That's funny. Yeah, because Vlad used it. I thought it was funny. We were talking, basically, he filled up the second car with supplies that's going to be given to the food group in Kharkiv. But, is she going out? To the food group in Kharkiv. And I asked him what he had in the back. And he said a lot of what they bought for this next food aid we raised money for is toilet paper and macaroni. He said toilet paper and macaronu, I think he called her something like macaroni, which I thought was cute, but apparently, it's what they need. So macaroni, Danish, funny. Macaroon. Well, we have macaroons, macarones in Espanol. See? Macarones. Huh. Funny. Interesting. And in English, of course, we have two words. We have macaron for the French macaron, but a macaroon is a totally different dessert that I don't like, made from isn't it made from coconut or something? Macaroons and egg whites? Or is macaroons just egg whites? Maybe it's just egg whites. I don't like them, though. I never liked them. Masarau, I'm guessing, for Portuguese. Masarau, but clearly the same origin. Funny, everybody. Macaroni is, but in French, you don't say macaron. You say pâte. Do you say macaron at all in French? I know you say pâte, but which is also funny because pâte has multiple needs or multiple uses. Wow, even in Irish and your language, God knows, nothing's the same in Irish. That's funny. Before I hang up, I just want that answer. Do you say any kind of macaron in French for pasta? Or maybe is it a particular kind of pasta, maybe too? And then I hang up after you tell me that. Macaroni. Funny. Yep. French. Well, macaron, I know, but what I meant was I know macaron's a macaron, but I mean, do you use like macaroni? Do you use that to mean a pasta as well in French at all? That was my question. But macarons, I know, of course. Yes, I like macarons in French. They're fabulous. I even made some France. The funny thing with France is, which is fabulous, of course, France being France, you can buy a box mix at a store to make macarons. And it's simply a quick mix at a store. I bought it. I brought it home, and I made them when I got back here. Au Quebec, macaroni for the C. I was going to say for the C-shaped pasta. That's what I was going to say. For some reason, that's what I was thinking. For the, I'm forgetting what you even call the little C-shaped pastas. You know, the little pasta shells, but the little, I don't know what. But that's what I was thinking, macaroni for that. I forget what, maybe we call it macaroni pasta. I don't know. But that's what I was wondering. Yeah, okay. Elbow pasta, that's what we call it. We call it elbow because elbow pasta. But when it was saying macaroni, that's what I think of those things. But in France it was fabulous. They've got a pre-mix box you can buy for making macarons. And it was pretty good. It wasn't bad. I mean, like it makes the little sides. I mean, we didn't know what we were doing. A friend and I made it here and I brought it back home. The filling was okay. Obviously, you'd probably want to make a fresher filling from a really good fruit preserves or something like that. But it was pretty good. All right, guys, I'm going to go. I'm getting hungry now, as we're saying. Le macaroni. But, okay, TikTok, I'm going to say goodbye to you guys. So once you start saying goodbye back, I know you got the message because I know there's a delay. And then YouTube, same thing with you folks. I'm going to head out as always. Oh, shit. Bash had another question. Oh, no, that's Bash's question. We already asked yours. Whew. Sorry. That was my second swear word of the evening. Oops. So, all right. Bye, guys. And tomorrow we're doing the same thing, same time. So tomorrow is what? Friday, 5 Central, 6 Eastern, midnight Paris. And we'll do Saturday and then Sunday. Thank you for that. Sunday, I'm flying back to DC. So I'm suspecting that Sunday we won't do one. So we'll see. I don't think we will. All right. Thanks, guys.